What do you guys think of the increment time controls? Is it good on these Armageddon games to have an increment after a certain number of moves?
After move 60, yes. Yeah. I think that's fair. I really do.
Yeah. This one is quite polarizing. I've seen very strong players argue very much against it. But yeah, I think after you do want to prevent rook versus rook being played out.
Thank you very much, Tony, for explaining the rules very clearly.
Thanks, guys.
Very good. And we have the same. Oh, yeah, no bishop.
But MVL doesn't dodge the main line. Now 95 has to be played. Yeah, and there is a bunch of things you can do here. Now, bishop g2, actually one of the more restrained ones. a6 equalizes comfortably here. I've had this. I've had this with black.
a6.
Isn't pawn on c4 hanging?
Thank you very much.
It is, but we're ignoring it.
Okay.
Knight takes c4 also playable, but a lot more challenging, I think.
I think there are lines with bishop f4 that you have to queen d3, queen a4. You have to know these lines really in and out.
a6, Alexander Grishuk once played knight a3 against me in that position. Queen a4 may be slightly more challenging, but rook b8, as far as I can remember, does equalize.
Yeah, I see most games in the database are e6, 175 games.
a6 is
a6, yes. Knight c4 was only 15.
There you have it. Knight a4. Knight a4 also exists in this position. I liked queen a5. No, this is still fine, but queen a5 check was a bit simpler.
Now we take on c4?
Now we absolutely take on c4. White goes queen c5, d5, b3. I think bishop d7 equalizes in that position. This is all still very...
Knight d7? I thought it was knight d7.
Knight d7?
No, I'm pretty sure it's bishop d7 and bishop takes a4. And this is supposed to be fine for black, but yeah, as you can see, Pragg still very much...
We are patrolling. No castling for you. No safety. No king safety.
Do we play b5 here, or?
I think we're playing bishop c6 to neutralize this bishop, but I don't know the theory. Peter,
bishop c6 appears to be a mistake. I would have played that in 3 seconds flat, but appears to be suboptimal. And now after castles, white has a bit of a bite. I don't quite know why, but...
So black plays queen e7 to try to castle.
Yes, very logical.
Maybe you take and give me check bishop a3, and that might be unpleasant.
My king is not happy sitting on e8.
But then I think it will be fine on d7. Yeah, I wonder why
he has played castles. Is it time? Should we reach for our h-pawn?
Yes, sir, very much. Getting into the festive spirit of the occasion. I think queen e7, the queen can go somewhere. We can choose a square. And then castles bishop a3 will still be unplayable. Queen, I don't know, e3, d3, c3.
Let's remind ourselves that black is up a pawn, right?
Yes.
Or all of
for the time
B pawn is gone.
Queen e7.
Yeah. Something like queen c3 here, maybe.
You're saying you'd like to keep the queens on the board and bishop to a3. Yeah. Is black not castling?
No, they can give
queen
the pawn back.
Queen side is very dangerous.
By playing d4.
Pardon me?
Black can give the pawn back by playing d4 and then castle. After queen c3.
Queen c3 played.
d4.
Yeah.
Queen takes d4. Bishop takes.
No, we probably throw in bishop takes c6 actually.
Right.
As you like. Bishop takes c6. B takes c6.
But black does get to castle. Yeah. Queen takes d4 castles, and we play something like, I don't know, bishop e3 or maybe bishop g5.
He's played.
Yeah, we're going to get this position.
Once again, Tony, if this game is drawn.
Right. If this game is drawn, then we go down to our series of Armageddon games.
With MVL sitting out.
That's right. MVL seeded into the second Armageddon game. We'll have Pragg versus Firouzja playing their Armageddon knockout game.
Do they switch colors?
And then, yes, they'll switch colors as well.
GCT points.
That's right. So GCT points are on the line for all of these. The winner of the playoff will receive the 13 GCT points.
No.
I'm sorry, the 12 GCT points, right, because it's not a clear first place.
And then 10 and 8.
And then
wait, are the points not shared this year? Because normally they were shared if you tied for first in the classical.
You know, you put me on the spot. It's a good question.
Over the years, they were pretty much always shared.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. I think you're right, Peter. I think in this case, it's just that extra $10,000 out of the prize money. So remember, the prize money structure is a little different. What happens is we pool all of the money from the players that are tied for first place, and we set aside 10,000 of that.
For the eventual
and the rest is split.
The rest is shared evenly amongst everyone. This is called the Hort system. Vestimil Hort was the inventor of it as well. So
just to reward the player who takes home the trophy.
They repeated this line that we're
Yeah,
calculating.
bishop g5.
Kind of an indication we're about to see a...
Yeah, bishop b2 maybe was slightly stronger, actually, preserving the bishop. Because now after h6, if you take, I think that rook ending is very, very level.
Right.
And bishop b2, rook f d8, queen e5, I saw, was the suggestion trying to preserve the bishop versus knight.
Do I need to work to...
No, you can go rook f d8 as well. Bishop g5 was probably just not the way.
Yeah. I think the one thing I need to avoid for the moment, at least, is c5. c5, bishop takes f6.
Yeah.
That's not...
With the queens on, that might be a bit
That's
awkward.
not-
Yeah, let's not do that.
That's not what we want. No. Rook d8 looks pretty decent.
Rook d8 couldn't be said. Why are we not playing immediately h6 and offering
No,
queen trade?
that's a perfectly
Yeah,
good move,
yeah.
too. h6 is perfectly good.
What do you think about the body language between the players? Maxime has been very kind of statue-like during this
He's
whole
gone
thing.
c5, actually. The one thing we were saying
Wow.
he shouldn't.
I think both look quite calm, given the
Yeah.
situation, right?
Yeah.
I think that is one of the most difficult things
Tony.
in these high pressure.
In your experience dealing with the players, do you think MVL knows he's seeded into the finals in the Armageddons?
Absolutely not. No, no. MVL's one of those players who comes into this, he has kind of a different approach, I think. He's a real sportsman when he comes into these tournaments, kind of gambles a little bit here and there and plays the games accordingly, yeah. And none of them read their contracts, so.
Because
Now we know.
that is actually an important thing to know in this current sport. MVL should know he draw is very good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
Rook to d8, to d4. Are we worried about rook to b6,
not
Peter?
necessarily. I don't think we are worried about much, frankly.
Should we be playing f5? What should we be doing?
Not just here. I like rook d8, rook d4. I guess it provokes e3, and then we can deal.
We
with
can
something.
decide. Okay. I also like the fact that he's used this rook. By the way, that just
Rook d4 is a threat right
Yeah.
now, right?
Yeah.
we're pawn grabbing.
Yeah, it's very difficult for white to swing. Apart from the queen, which is on a nice square, you can't really get your rook to the h file.
Right.
If there were no pawns on the c file, you could play something like rook b4, queen f3, rook h4. That might have been annoying, but
Yeah.
the board is very closed.
Rook
Rook
b2.
b2.
Invite. Oh, pardon me.
Rook d4, queen f3, and then rook b7. I guess he is laying a trap.
Or black would just play rook b8 now.
Yeah, I think it's fine.
Would you double on b5?
I take it and play rook to d1.
All right, switching the lanes, right?
Switching the fast lanes. Once again, rook d4,
Queen f3.
queen f3.
And now you can actually misplay it quite badly, but rook d8, rook d7 is still fine, I guess.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Rook
Although
to
you
d-
lose the a6 pawn in the end, right? Rook b7, rook d7, I take. And I give you a check from a8.
Yeah, we do lose that pawn.
And but you have rook a7 in the end. Even that doesn't do anything.
It's amazing.
But we do have a move. MVL played rook b8.
I guess we go rook fb1, but
Why else did we play rook b2?
We're now below 2 minutes.
Rook b2, rook b1, rook b4? No. Am I asking
even
too
a3.
much?
Who's playing for something?
That's my question.
Oh, rook d1 check played very quickly by MVL, so he
That
has
was
an
a-
active rook on b2 now.
That was a kind of cheeky move. Rook b1, rook check. And I'm kind of surprised he's never played f5, by the way. I kind of like the inclusion
He's keeping
of
that
f5.
option
Yeah.
for later, for the right moment.
For the moment. He's saving
h4.
h4.
There we go, f5.
h4, f5.
Queen
But-
f4 now.
By the way, h5, h6 was
We're
coming,
gonna
so
see it.
At least will be attempted, at least.
f5 on the
Pretty sure
board.
it gets stopped on h5, though.
Well, queen
Well, yeah.
f4, hallelujah.
Queen f4, you can still play king g7 because we have queen
H5?
f6 there. h6?
Oh, you play h6.
Yeah, I
of course.
absolutely want to meet h5 with h6.
By the way, we don't want to
I'm
hang out.
terrified of allowing h5, h6 here with
Quickly
black.
played.
Queen. So the idea is we're threatening check, and we don't want to allow queen to be. You don't take the pawn on e2, queen b8, rook d8. I could get an attack. King g7 in order to meet queen
Yeah,
e5.
e4, I guess, makes an immediate draw. Fe4, we can go queen g4 check. Queen f6 is very solid, though.
e4 on the board.
Yeah.
Sorry, what makes an immediate draw, Peter?
Pawn takes.
I thought e4 was like, he was running a bit short on time, I think. He's down to 40 seconds against 130, and
Queen f6 is
simplifying into something he cannot lose, I think, is endorsed.
Endorsed. Endorsed.
Endorsed, yeah.
Queen f6.
Yeah, MVL is looking for queen f6, and then after ef, queen f5, nobody beats anybody.
So,
I guess.
Once again,
Don't you
queen.
lose 2 pawns? But it's still a draw.
I can go rook d5 f4. Rook takes a2 is all. Oh, fe4. Okay.
Okay, somebody
Yeah, we're throwing in a
is.
check.
King h8, queen e4.
No,
It's a little bit worrisome, right?
h6.
Oh.
I don't want to go to. I didn't want to go backwards.
But
Queen
queen
f6,
f6, you have
queen e3.
counterplay. f2 is hanging now.
Yeah, queen e3 I think is comfortable, and we will be threatening queen f8 mate after we take on c5.
So
But black should still be completely fine after.
rook takes a2.
Yeah, rook a2, queen c5, king g7.
Yes. So avoiding mate in one, that's a good
Yes.
thing.
And now MVL wants to play rook a1, trade rooks, right?
Trade rooks. In fact,
That should be an easy.
I would jump on that opportunity
Right now, right?
right now.
While you can.
So
Yeah,
it's
but
actually
okay.
a bit iffy because the c pawn connected with ideas of queen g5, queen g8. Like you have to be.
I don't think so. I think it's going to be a draw.
I think rook c.
Rook
All I'm
a1.
saying is maybe rook c2 is cleaner.
Rook c2.
I'm sure rook a1 is a draw. I'm just
Rook c2.
in practical terms. I think maybe rook c2
Maybe
is
there's
slightly
rook d4?
cleaner.
Rook
Yeah,
c2.
rook d4, h5. I thought.
Rook c1. Rook
And
d4.
then and then nobody. Although rook f4. Yeah.
This is on the board. All of this.
Yeah.
You could still blunder.
And
Oh,
clock
absolutely.
times. Clock times.
30 seconds for both.
30 seconds for both. 2-second increments doesn't allow you to build up any buffer. I mean, physically moving heavily weighted pieces.
The Val bar definitely prefers white, and black has to be careful.
I was clearly wrong about rook c2 being preferable to rook a1, but not the first or the last
It's
time.
getting nerve-wracking
Rook
time.
f4 now.
Rook
Yes.
f4, and yeah, he's planning to play queen c3, and he's now
Queen,
losing.
queen a7 wins. Queen
a7
a7
wins the game, and Pragg wins the tournament.
He's found it. And he wins. Wow, congrats, Pragg.
Wow.
It just the last 2 moves, everything turned around.
Yeah.
We're expecting a draw. Ready
No
for-
Armageddons, yeah.
Right. Well, we still see MVL versus Firouzja now, right?
No, they
No.
already
That was the previous game.
Because
yeah,
We're done.
they're in the round robin
That's
stage
right,
still.
that's right.
And Pragg, champion. Thank
Pragg
you,
wins.
Tony. Most appreciated for your explanation of what.
Thanks for making sure we didn't come down to those nasty Armageddon games.
Yeah. Pragg came in with a 73% chance of winning the tournament.
And did win, not in the way we expected, but he did end up winning the tournament. That's his second tournament win of the year. He also
won
won
Tata
Icon
Steel,
Z,
right?
yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
So yeah, very good year so far for the young man.
Wow. And it
he
happened
takes a
so.
lead in Granch's store,
And it yes.
of course.
No, but
they're
those
splitting
points
the
are shared.
points.
MVL is actually still leading that,
I see.
despite losing this game. MVL is still leading that.
It was just this last moment, Peter. Clearly, Maxine just completely forgot about
Queen a7.
Queen a7 and the f pawn. But already things have gone a little bit south on
Yeah,
him.
instead of a5, he still, I think, had a pretty clear draw. If we go back a couple of moves, obviously we're not on screen, so
Yeah.
yeah, let's.
We're going to have a closing ceremony, a presentation, I want to say.
Award ceremony, yes. You can
Award
see there's a lot
ceremony.
of fans walking with him and congratulate him.
Absolutely.
That just happened so fast.
It
We were
was-
not expecting it.
Right, it was just more or less the way Alireza won his game. It was just like
Yeah.
a sudden last-minute blunder.
Well, we have a minute, so let's show that moment maybe. Although, yeah, once again, yeah, very nice to see the interest from the audience there in Bucharest.
Pragg is the champion, and you would expect he's smiling, laughing, but he must be so tired.
Yeah,
It hasn't kicked in yet that he
it's an
just
exhausting.
won.